Right, this time I'd like to bring 8x8 right up to the stage. If you guys are unfamiliar with 8x8, it must be comfortable underneath the rock you've been under. But at the end of the day, they are one of the largest, right, unified communications providers right in the country. Their sales support and sales structure for our TCG partners is absolutely amazing. I got to tell you, from the deal registration process all the way down until the sales support, I was the lucky beneficiary of an issue that right, a partner and a customer had just recently. Right, like we called an 8x8, and within 2 minutes, right, not even kidding, guys, within 2 minutes, right, they were screen sharing with the customer and diagnosing the problem right away. I've yet to really see that from some of these hosted providers. So right from a deal registration process, I know that they're going to talk about it, but I do want to mention that if anybody in the room has any sizable hosted opportunities, the reality of it is that you should be getting them registered with 8x8, because if your customers are going on to Google and starting to research things, right, the way that most customers are doing right these days because of the access to information, you know, if they do a simple Google search, right, like what hosted carrier is best for my business, right, the first page of results is going to just be completely filled with stuff from 8x8 because of the amount of advertising that they pay for and because of their stance within the industry. So, right, your customers are going to know about it. It's best to introduce them as soon as possible and get that deal registered because it protects you long term. Even if they call into 8x8 or speak to a direct rep, as long as we get the deal registration in first, it's going to protect that opportunity for you, right, like our TCG partner. Not every hosted provider does this. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce the entire team. We'd love to have you guys up here. Thank you.
On behalf of 8x8, I'd like to welcome you all today. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Michael Sibeli. I'm Regional Vice President of Channels at 8x8 for the eastern half of the U.S. With me today, I have Manny Caballero, who is going to be doing the presentation. In the back of the room, Alberto Herrera is our channel manager. Also, another channel manager that we have here for the area is Carol Zayas. And last but not least, David Kendrak, who is our support person and national account manager for this absolutely wonderful partner of ours in TCG. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Manny and start the presentation. And again, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. How's the food? Delicious? I'm gonna have mine after, so tell me how good it is, because mine's coming out after. Thank you so much, TCG, for having us here. As Michael said, my name is Manny Caballero. I am the Sales Engineering Manager at 8x8. I manage a team of sales engineers on the East Coast, actually based in Miami, so I'm here. We have a short amount of time to cover a lot of information, so whatever we can't get to within the presentation or Q&A, our team's going to stick around here and be able to answer any questions for you. So let's get started. First giveaway. Who knows why we're called 8x8? I'm sorry? Someone who's not part of TCG. Raise hand. PAX 8? Elaborate a little bit more. Who knows why we're called 8x8? 64 bits, right? Our heritage. There we go. Give it up for our first winner right over here, gentleman in the black polo. So we focus on unified communications as a service, contact center as a service. Moving on now to video conferencing and CPaaS, or collaboration platform, communication platform as a service. But our origins are actually in the video compression chip manufacturing. And actually, I apologize. He actually got it without any, I thought this was a different slide, and he actually got the answer right. So I didn't help anybody in this one. But we do focus on all these areas, like I mentioned, the UCaaS, CCaaS, video conferencing, and collaboration. But our origins really are in the video compression chip manufacturing. And if you remember, the original component of a block was 8 pixels by 8 pixels. So that's where 8x8 comes from. We have 15 global data centers. We've got 24/7, 365 follow the sun support for our customers. And we also offer a financially backed SLA for service reliability and call quality. And by the way, this includes the last mile, which not everyone includes in their SLA, okay? All right. next giveaway. Who can tell me how many times 8x8 has been listed in the Gartner Magic Quadrant Leaders Quadrant? Hand. All the time. I'm looking for a number. I'm sorry? 8. I heard 8. All right, we have a winner over here. 8. We have been listed as, gentlemen, can you raise your hand so Alberto can see? Right there. We have been listed as a Magic Quadrant leader 8 times in a row. Okay, no one else can claim the fact that they've been deemed as a leader for 8 consecutive years. As far as our heritage of innovation, like I said, we did start in video compression chip manufacturing, but over the years we have accumulated, and between the patents that we have and the patents that are pending, 280 patents. So as far as our technology, and we'll get into some of the geo-routing stuff, we do have patented technology that enables us to provide the kind of call quality and experience that our customers have. And as far as our track record, over 1 million business users leveraging 8x8. Regis is one of those customer reference customers that we have with an average of about 60,000 UC seats. Okay, so if there's a question as to, well, 8x8, are they an enterprise player, are they a small business player? The answer is all of the above. Okay. So that was a slide I thought was up, so I apologize. So you guys all know why we're called 8x8. Now, we started in the early 2000s focusing specifically on global unified communications, and as the years progressed, we saw that there was a need for additional offers for our customers beyond just the traditional unified communications area. We noticed contact center, obviously very, very well tied in with UC, another form of communication. UC, predominantly an internal kind of platform for businesses, not really leveraging it for customer experience. That's where contact center comes in, and being able to provide customers with solutions and platforms there to not only handle voice calls, but email and chat and SMS and which is the other one I'm forgetting right now? I'm sorry? Video. Yes, video. And social media, that's the one, social media. So being able to engage with their customers via the communication channel of choice, whether it's Facebook Messenger or Twitter. I will take this opportunity to say that I had an experience where, and you'd think, social media, how can you really leverage that? I was using a company, a rent-a-car company. I won't say their name, but I'll say, they'll pick you up, right? So, I used them, and I rented a car, and then I turned in my car, and then I said, okay, I'm ready to be taken home now. And the gentleman at the office said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't drive you home. I'm the only one here. My coworker called in sick, and I'm not able to take you home. And I said, well, I thought you could pick me up, right? So I said, okay, fair enough. I mean, he's like, I have to close the office down if I were to do that, and I can't. And so I said, okay, fine. Luckily, the office was about maybe a quarter of a mile from my house, so I walked home in the warm South Florida sun, thinking, wow, okay. But it was only a quarter mile, so no big deal. So what do you do, right, when you kind of feel like disappointed? Well, you go to Twitter, and you @mention the company, and you say, I'm kind of disappointed. I used you guys, but they weren't able to take me home. Before I reached my doorstep, I had a response from this company via Twitter. They apologized for my experience. They explained that not every office is able to offer that service, something that I learned. I thought everybody could. They couldn't. And they apologized again for my experience. Now, did a car magically appear and drive me the rest of the way? No. But no, they didn't offer that. That would have been... However, before I got to my house, I was already kind of... My anger and my frustration was a bit diffused. And it was simply because I was heard as a customer. Okay? That's huge, right? Will I use them again? Yeah, absolutely I will. But sometimes we think that, well, social media, that's just to have fun or post pictures on Insta. Did you see my Insta? Well, not so much. It can also be used for business purposes. And that's one example where customer experience was changed because of it. Collaboration, analytics, and integration. Essentially, we're talking about teams of people working together, being able to leverage audio, web, and video conferencing, and then over on the top, the ability to provide analytics on what's going on within my business. Something beyond just UC, looking at my metrics, in the unified communication side and in my contact center as well. And with integrations, we'll get to it in a second as well, but offering a framework for customers to be able to integrate to 8x8 via APIs, so that beyond our out-of-the-box CRM integrations, which, by the way, are Salesforce, Zendesk, NetSuite, and Microsoft Dynamics, we offer a suite of APIs that allow customers to integrate to other CRMs like Pipedrive, Zoho, HubSpot, several others, right? We're getting more and more asks by customers to integrate to those CRMs, and it makes it a little bit difficult for us to be able to integrate with everyone siloed. So what we did is we create a framework, and via API we can integrate with these different CRMs. Now, if you take a step back and look at the offers that we had, I talked about UCaaS, CCaaS, I talked about video conferencing as a service, I talked about CPaaS as well. We're looking here at basically what the breakdown is. So within your customer, if you look at the breakdown of individuals that potentially are sales, right? Groups of people that need to collaborate with one another and collaborate with their prospects. Employees who potentially may just have internal interactions, right? Contact center that can offer that customer experience as well as that customer support, right? Because it's not just about fielding comments or feedback, it's also about fixing their issues as well. And we're able to provide solutions that meet all of these different points in a way where, whether you're talking about leveraging voice or team messaging between two different organizations. So let's say that there's an acquisition that happened with one of your customers and one group is using Salesforce Chatter and the other group is using Slack. Well, what do I do, right? One's one chat platform and the other's the other. We offer the ability to be able to connect these two platforms so that individuals can stay in their chat platform of choice and still be able to interact and collaborate with folks on a different platform. Just go ahead and go through this one. So X Series is our the naming convention that we have for our offer. And we have X2, X4, X6, X8. Before anyone asks, we do have a 1, 3, 5, and 7. The more attractive ones, or the more popular ones, I guess, are these right here, which is why we highlight them. And I know this is a night chart. I don't expect anybody to read this, but I believe that this material will be shared with you afterwards. Not to mention, you can look at this information at 8x8.com at any time. But we're able to provide the right plan for each role within your organization. So X2 would be a knowledge worker, somebody who interacts with other people within the organization, doesn't necessarily have to interact with customers. And X4 would be someone more of a supervisor or IT admin that needs access to call quality reports and need access to doing move ads and changes within your system. Maybe even we call it, I shouldn't call it call center light, but we do offer some call queuing and ring group functionality within the UCaaS solution. So you don't have to necessarily buy a premium sophisticated contact center solution if you just have kind of like minimal or contact center needs. And then we have the voice agent, which can be an X6 seat. This is, and by the way, as you move up towards the right here, or yeah, my left, you get everything that's here plus this. Everything that's here plus this. Everything that's here plus this. And then when you get to X8, we're talking about a omni-channel agent. We're talking about dialers. We're talking about quality management and speech analytics, the ability to transcribe conversations and understand what an agent said, what the customer said, being able to pull call recordings based on, I want to know how many agents have said this particular word or this statement. Okay. Anybody here ever done quality assurance or been a supervisor in a contact center? Had to deal with situations where, we're trying to improve our customer service. Let me look at 10 calls that didn't go as planned. You pick 10 calls randomly, you listen to them all, and guess what? They were awesome calls. They weren't bad. So there's no opportunity for training there. We're able to give you the tools to be able to extract the calls that you're looking for, good or bad, right? Because it's all about praising what works and fixing what's not working. You can. So you can mix and match. You can't mix and match beyond X6. So you have to pick 6, 7, or 8. But not everybody has to be an X2. You can have an X2. You can have an X1. Let's say you've got someone. Mm-hmm. You could achieve all of that with X2. X4 would be limited to the supervisor that you would be wanting to look at the metrics and the dashboards on what's going on. Yes, and the people you want barging, monitoring, and whispering, right? Yeah. So the data right now, from a recording perspective, we sell you retention. So it's based on retention. It's not disk space. So when you're talking about the contact center call recordings, I believe it's 10, 40, 100, or 400 days retention. And then thereafter, if you want us to archive the information for you, we can. Or you can also, through professional services, have our team download it to an SFTP or whatever SAN you've got. Yeah, because some customers do have those regulations where they need to hold on to recordings for an extended period of time. It doesn't have to be in the cloud. It could be at whatever SAN the customer has. We do have reporting APIs. Call recording, let me get back to you on that. I don't remember. We do, if anybody goes out and just Googles 8x8 VCC API, what VCC stands for Virtual Contact Center. We've now rebranded to 8x8 Contact Center. It'll take you straight to the support page, and all of our APIs are listed there. Yeah, I don't remember if call recording is one, but so I don't want to. And how we stack against the competition, well, essentially, we own our technology. And when I first heard that kind of value prop, it didn't really resonate with me. I said, okay, so big deal. So we own all of our technology. It really resonates with customers, particularly customers that are dealing with multiple vendors, in that we don't offer this finger pointing, right? If it's a contact center issue, we help you. If it's a UCAS issue, we help you. With some of the other vendors, yes, they're selling it to you and it's white labeled, but at the end of the day, it depends on the partnership that vendor has with a different vendor. And so we don't have that issue because we own all of our core technology, okay? Now I'm gonna step back here so I can read it with you. I'm not gonna cover the ones we've already covered, but security and compliance, we haven't talked about that one as well. So obviously, being a cloud service provider, we take security very, very, it's very important. We have a chief security officer. We've got an entire team dedicated to looking at how we comply with regulations, not just within the United States, but also internationally as well. So if we're talking about GDPR, if we're talking about CCPA, any customers that have any presence in California as well. We do offer a HIPAA compliant solution. Now remember, that does not make your customer HIPAA compliant, right? It's the solution is HIPAA compliant. We can also offer a BAA as more proof that we are. But I always remind people, if I were to go to a fax machine and take a patient record and put it in the coffee table of my waiting room, I am no longer HIPAA compliant, right? So on that point, very, very important. And then when we're talking about patents, this is what I was referring to. So we have patented algorithms around geo-routing and for signaling and voice. And so if you've got customers that are global and you've got people that are traveling internationally, we do not force our end users or our customers to have to send or pin the call back to the United States to then go ahead and send it back to the device that they're using internationally. Because we have data centers across the globe, if someone's in Europe, it may go ahead and ping in the UK. If someone may go ahead and ping in Amsterdam. If they're in Asia, it may go to Hong Kong. So if you have global customers, we can support them as well. And what that means is that they don't experience latency or poor call quality. So great question. The answer there is it depends. Some countries, yes. The answer is yes. There's some countries where we are not allowed to. And some countries where they require a gateway because the country wants the traffic going through their PSTN. But depending on what the list of countries are, our team will work with you and let you know. Right. A good question. And then also the fact that we've got relationships with 26 different PSTN carriers, or more than 26. So what this means is that if a particular carrier is experiencing an outage, we can go ahead and reroute our traffic to a different carrier. So that's also a benefit to our customers, particularly when you're locked into maybe one or two. From a contact center perspective, the The APIs option I think is very, very important, particularly around the CRM, and I tout that because it's been something that has kind of blown up over the last 6 months. The amount of times that customers come to us and say, "Can you integrate with this or can you integrate with that?" And that's something that I think has positioned us really well with a greater number of customers beyond the 4 that I mentioned before that we support out of the box. I mentioned HIPAA compliance as well. The at mentions. So from an agent productivity perspective, I mentioned that we can transcribe conversations. I mentioned that we can understand what the agent said and what the customer said. I can also at mention an agent. So let's take the positive example. The agent did a fantastic job upselling the caller on the phone. Within our speech analytics and quality management tool, I can at mention that agent, okay, and give them feedback that will immediately be emailed to them, giving them that kudos. I can also take a snippet of that conversation. Say it was a 5-minute conversation, but the part that was really good was 30 seconds. I can take a snippet of that conversation and then send it to the agent and say, "Great job." Okay? So beyond the fact that we can understand what was said, see the sentiment that call had, whether it was a very enthusiastic customer or a very disappointed customer, we can also provide tools to enable the agents to understand how they're doing, right? And then subject matter expert, another great way of being able to give an agent the ability to interact with people that are non-agents to achieve that contact center nirvana, which is, as we all know, first call resolution. So rather than have them leverage an interface for being able to collaborate with fellow agents and then a different interface or tool to collaborate with non-agents within the business, we allow them to be able to do that via the same agent desktop. So my question to you is, are agents the only people within a company that are there for the benefit of their customers? Are they the only ones that are supposed to have all of the expertise within a business? No. We're all here for all of our customers. So if somebody in legal has an answer that I as an agent don't have, but I can see that they're green and available and I can send them a chat and ask them the question, answer that customer question on the spot and hang up and have a happy customer, I get customer experience points there. That's good CSAT, right? Leaders must shift to modern communications that enable their business to keep up or risk getting left behind. Right? What we're hearing today, and these are just some points of things that keep coming up in our conversations. You guys can nod if this is true, or kind of give me that face if you haven't heard that yet. I doubt it, though. We're evaluating cloud providers, and we're no longer considering premise-based. Many years ago, I remember we had to go in and we had to sell them on this notion of, well, OpEx versus CapEx. Well, you really should consider this because it's the future and this is where we're going, and you're stuck in your on-prem system. I'm not having that conversation anymore. Customers are coming to us and they're saying, we're done. We're moving to cloud, right? Our customers. Difficulty with Macs. You know what? We had a person here. They were great. They were managing our phone system for 20 years. They retired last week. We don't have any other experts in-house. What do we do, right? Something that's easy to manage so that if you've got a little bit of understanding of telephony and potentially have used a smartphone, you can quickly pick up and be able to admin for your company. No mobility or ability to have an application on my mobile device that keeps me connected to the business that looks exactly or almost exactly like my desktop application. We have that. Lack of integration to other applications. So even in the UCaaS side, we do offer integrations to CRM. So if you have these kind of like smaller contact center light customers, we can still integrate with CRMs on the UCaaS side without having to be in that X6 or X8 seat. And then just the inability to look at, basic analytics and reports within the company. We can provide you with all of the reporting and analytics for both your UC users and your contact center users. This is also kind of what we're seeing as well. Users leveraging different contact centers, different collaboration tools, different conferencing tools, telephony. Now, I found it interesting that according to our source here, 22% of surveyed customers use more than 6 tools. That's mind-boggling. Can we appease this? Can we kind of like fix this a little bit? Can we reduce the number? I'm not saying eliminate everyone, although that would be fantastic, but can we go ahead and shrink the number? Absolutely we can. All right, last question. Who can tell me what the total addressable market is across UC, meetings, and contact center? Who said 50? 50. All right, we had the last winner over here, Albert. $50 billion addressable market across UC, meetings, and contact center. It's our market. $50 billion, that is our market. Can you raise your hand, sir? Right there. Now, no presentation would be complete without your logo slide. Ta-da! There you go. Some names that I'm sure you all recognize. Regis being the one that I mentioned before, our largest 60,000 UC seats. But here are some of the other customers that we have broken down by vertical as well. So if you've got customers that fall into a particular vertical, you can go ahead and take a look here. Like I said, this is going to be shared with you. We do have a customer reference program where customers can sign up to be customer references, and that we can also leverage in the event that one of your customers is looking for someone else within their vertical that is an 8x8 customer as well. So short term, 8x8 is able to achieve what you see there. Solve your customer problems, your customers' problems rather, and help them achieve their business targets. Short term. Right? That's what they come to you, that's the need they come to you with, right? Long term, how can we help them grow? And how could it improve the relationship that you have with them? And this, by the way, relationship goes between the customer and yourself and your businesses and 8x8 as well, okay? What it means to you: customers are tagged at the account level, which means all future business is linked to you. All future business. We can take on a very hands-on approach, and we can go in there and we can talk to the customer, we can set up demos, we can do everything. You just kind of sit back and watch us do our thing and everything's great. Or we can take a hands-off approach. You lead, you tell us what to do, we stand where you tell us to stand, we speak when we're told to speak. It's up to you. We're flexible that way. And last but not least, the fact that we have a dedicated engineering and deployment team. We do have a channel sales engineering team as well across the United States, and all they do is basically assist our partners, and not only enabling them with information and training, but also being there alongside you as needed, depending on the opportunity. And we do have my team, which are the sales engineering team as well, that work specific opportunities. Now, before we wrap up, I'd like to ask the folks in our 8x8 table if there's anything else you want to share, or anything else you want to say before we wrap up, or we can just do Q&A. Or there are T's and C's in the agreement. For example, one of them that I can mention is it does require a dual ISP. So we're not necessarily gonna, you're locked into one. There are some criteria that need to be met. And if they are met, then we will completely and totally financially back that agreement. That's how confident we feel in our technology and our capability. Yeah, gentleman in the back, sorry. Free phones and professional installs. Do you guys want to come? One of you come up here so I'm not walking back and forth? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the. Free phones and professional installs.
Yeah, we're constantly running promos, which a lot of you folks know. So sometimes there are free phones, sometimes there are rebates. So we get the price down to the amount of the rebate, so it becomes free, right? So the customer does have to, in some cases, put up the money, whether it's $20 a phone, and then we give them a $20 rebate that they go ahead and send in, so it does end up being free. Huh? So we do have Yeah, so we have Implementation Plus, which what we do is once the opportunity, so we have obviously different flavors, right? So you can go from white glove on-premise if you need it, right? Especially when you start getting into more complex types of settings or configurations, or you start getting into contact center. But for like the SB world, a lot of times all they really need is Implementation Plus, which it gives them an implementation analyst that will walk them through. They'll set up remote, literally right after. That's correct. Yep. It's somebody just. We offer that too, right? So you can actually have physical presence, actually have bodies plugging in the phone and working with the customers to configure that. That is worked up in an SOW. It does not affect our commission. It does not affect your commission. Right. Not at all. The spiff is not capped. So and then we'll send everyone. We'll get the email for everybody in here, and we'll send everyone the latest spiff, so you have the exact parameters. So we do have, like Michael was mentioning, we have a 6X, 36. It's the only requirement is that it's a 36-month. 7X, the only requirement, the requirement is 36 months and I think 25 seats for call center. And then you do have other options if you go down to 24 months. I think it's a 5X or a 4X. I don't remember. But we'll send that out to everyone, so you'll have it within the next 2 days.
Nope. I just want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you so much, TCG, for having us. Thank you.